Hello and welcome. It is Japan, and I thought I'd do a review. I don't normally do reviews on like individual Raws as much or SmackDowns and stuff. I kind of thought about doing maybe a Raw thing for now on to a certain extent because it's like I normally have Mondays off streaming, and now being on Netflix, I have a better chance of like rewinding and looking at stuff. So maybe this will be a thing depending on how this one goes. But I feel like the Raw Netflix just definitely needed its own tier list. So we're gonna jump right into it. I have the individual segments to a certain extent. There's a few of them that I don't think was anything too crazy. I guess we could have put the Gunther one in here. I didn't really think about it till the last minute because it was like it was okay. I mean, so we're gonna go from segment to match to segment to match and rate them all on an S to D tier for the first ever Raw on Netflix. Now, there was a lot of different stuff that it felt like got cut from this, and so I'm gonna do it based off of just watching the episode and not feeling. I might bring up what I thought was gonna happen, but I'm not going to try to harp on too much stuff because we don't know exactly what happened in the background. So we're going to start off the show. I started off with Triple H. That part was fine. I didn't really necessarily put that in there because we kind of figured, I don't know, Triple H part is just kind of normal. He kind of is there for all the major stuff. It makes sense. He's you know, the big boss man. So that was fine. And then we had The Rock come down. The thing with The Rock thing was just very weird because it's like, I feel like he just came back full baby face. And it was just odd. I didn't mind, like, he gave good words to Cody Rhodes, which hopefully will let Cody Rhodes be free and that doesn't have to worry about the rest of this bloodline stuff. And I really hope that will be good. I think that will really motivate Cody to have his run continue better because we've been waiting and waiting for it. We know it's going to be Cody versus The Rock at some point. So until we have that, everything that Cody did felt kind of meaningless to a certain extent. We knew he wasn't going to lose the title because of that. So now that that seems to be gone, I do like that part. I just was very confused. I really thought like this would have been the best thing when he was talking about like for the last year somebody's carried on his back, the blood, sweat, and tears been in there, and I really wanted him to say, "Please come down here, Kevin Owens." I would have lost my shit. That's because I thought Rock was going to still be a heel, so I was like, that would have been amazing. But this new babyface Rock, I don't ever really like The Rock as a babyface. Like back in the day, it fit really well for the story and all that. But he's always been a better like big bad guy, arrogant guy because it's just he has like the muscles. He's good looking, like and it's all and he has a charisma. Like all of that stuff has always worked really good as a heel, as Hollywood Rock and stuff. So this I'm gonna put in C. I wasn't too thrilled by it just because we didn't get anything. And then when we do see The Rock next after the Roman match, that also just felt kind of, I thought he was going to rock bottom him or something. Like I thought something was going to happen, but no. So my outside perspective and not doing on the rating is that The Rock does not have time for wrestling. So there is no Rock coming anytime soon. So this would, effectively show that because he didn't set up anything for the future, meaning that he may or may not make it to WrestleMania. And if he does, he's only making it to Mania and a little bit before it. But I figured this would be his time to be out there and putting something together, but it didn't happen. Then we go to our first match, the Tribal Combat match between Roman and Solo. I think I had a few things here. I think the match itself was pretty solid. It was serviceable. They went out there, they put on a match. I really, you're not gonna expect to see the 5-star craziest wrestling in the world. You're gonna get a nice story being told, and that's kind of what they did. So on that part, I was happy with it. I didn't really necessarily like the bloodline coming down there that helped Solo because it just really like he kind of like, hey, you send your guys here and I'll send my guys here. Like he didn't have to use his guys because that was the whole point. He knew once he did that, then Roman would like they playing from the same playbook. Like he could have had it where like he had nobody come down, and if they really wanted to, then they could have had it where like they weren't supposed to come down or something, and they just felt a loyalty to Solo, so it doesn't completely destroy Solo because I don't know what they do with Solo after this. I don't know. Solo is a solo island right now, and does this mean that Roman takes control of the rest of the bloodline, or what happens here? I think it was serviceable. I'll put it in B. Again, we weren't really assuming that this would be like that 5-star match, but between the story that's going on and the match itself, I think was pretty solid. I think it's like harder to rate WWE matches sometimes with me because they have the story in a lot of these matches that really makes you more invested in seeing a match compared to just, you know, nothing. The other segment, I don't think it happened around here, but we got the Penta thing that we know it's definitely Penta that's debuting, and it seems like he's going to go against Chad Gable. I hope that was a pivot from then having it Rey Mysterio's mystery partner. I think that was the pivot that they wanted to do, and they cut this match entirely from that card. I think that was the right call because it just didn't quite make sense because Penta, I feel like, just needs to have his own thing. He needs to go out there and do his own stuff, and I think that works perfectly if he's not tied to the LWO or tied to Rey Mysterio. Now, if he wants to feud against Rey, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I prefer that he is doing other stuff that's not in the LWO like place. But next up, we got John Cena's like just his retirement tour. I mean, it was a solid segment. He kind of went down there saying that he, needed basically the crowd to be behind him for this run. It works perfectly for Cena. I'm hoping, I'm still in the two boats of Cena. I either want Cena to have that fairy tale ending that they give him that send off of breaking the record, or they do the opposite and just make it a struggle and he doesn't do anything and he just finishes his career. I mean, it kind of fits both ways for Cena because of how much Cena gives back to the company. That I could see that happening. But me personally, I want him to beat Gunther at WrestleMania, take the thing. I would love for Cena just to win the Royal Rumble and pick a shot, take on Gunther. I think it makes a lot of sense, but I could also see him winning the Elimination Chamber and doing that because we already know that he's facing somebody at the Elimination Chamber, or he's going to be out in the show because he said it. So we got a year of Cena, and I'm excited. I want to see him as much as humanly possible, even if it isn't in the title picture or whatever feuds he has. I believe it works good for the heavyweight title, and if he is out there and can do it, it will bring that elevation to that title to whenever he does drop it to the next person. That title will be serviced well because it's been one of those titles that's gone through some names, and I think it's been pretty solid. So I think this segment in general, it's an A. I think it was solid. I wouldn't really add much to it. Next up, we had the little Logan Paul vignette. I set this one off because I really don't like Logan Paul, so I'm gonna put it in D. The problem with Logan Paul to me is, I mean, even if you minus all the outside stuff and all that, it's just he's a full-time wrestler that wrestles part-time. And that's just, he says he's all in now, so we'll see. But if he's not on a week-to-week basis, like, I expect most people to say that they're full-time to, in a month's time, be on at least 2 out of the 4 Raws. But I can have a feeling we'll see him once. 3 weeks later, we might see him, and there'll be a backyard segment or somewhere else. Like, I don't know. It's just not worth it. Next up is another piece of trash, Hulk Hogan. I can't stand Hulk Hogan. Just all that outside stuff. It's just he doesn't need to be here in the WWE. The WWE has worked really hard over the last 2-3 years to really change everything that they had negative about them and try to really turn this corner, and they're really turning it on Netflix, and then they bring him back. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's nothing to offer. I mean, he had no star power. Nobody wanted him there compared to like other people, like even Logan Paul. At least people wanted him there to boo him, and he's gonna wrestle. But like Hulk Hogan brought nothing other than the money for sponsorship that I'm pretty sure they could have found somewhere else. So I just don't think it was worth it. Next up, this technically, I'll move this back. It was supposed to be the Travis Scott fin, but it's a little bit further on. We'll go to the women's championship match. Overall, the match was pretty crazy. I feel like it was definitely one of those matches that should have had a little bit more time on it. It was only about a 10-minute match, and I feel like it definitely needed like 15 to 16 minutes on it, just because they were trying to play out the story of like obviously Rhea getting the upper hand, and then obviously she had 2 people ringside that was trying to mess with her, but they did one thing and that was it. They just kind of gave up and let Liv lose. I felt like there could have definitely been a Damian Priest spot to come down there or something to at least distract the outside people or get rid of those outside people. Like anybody they could have had. They could have had anybody come down and feud with Dom, and it would have worked out perfectly and could have set something up for Dom after this. Um, I just feel like they missed an opportunity there that it just seemed kind of out of the place. And I thought it was pretty cool that Liv kicked out of the Riptide. I think that was a nice little touch to try to show that Rhea's not completely dominant. But I don't think this match really served either one that well, except for the result being what I think they should have done, which was give the title back to Rhea. Because a lot of people want to like complain about Rhea and complain like, well, you know, she doesn't deserve this title. Let's just be fully honest here and fully transparent. If Rhea Ripley does not get hurt, she would still have that original title run. There is no way that she wasn't going to hold on to that title as long as humanly possible and drop it to a huge name. We had exactly what has happened the last few months has been perfect for Liv Morgan and perfect for Becky Lynch even before that, because when Becky came back, or when Becky took the title, like the vacant title off of Rhea, it fit because it was somebody that was a big name and could hold it, so they could set up the Dom and Liv storyline. So when Liv got the story, she was all about, I got this, I got everything from Rhea, and Rhea's gonna have to try to win it all back, and it worked out perfectly. Like it was a good story. They strung it along a little too long after this, but I feel like, you know, it still worked out. I think they could have definitely finished this off at the last PLE or the one before this. I felt like they should have gave Liv a little bit more freedom to defend the title during the summer, and then they would have, you know, let Rhea take it over whenever she got back. And you know, some of the stuff could have worked out. It wasn't worked. It didn't book properly, but I think if you look at it, Liv was in a huge storyline and got a title run. That probably wasn't an opportunity that she was positioned in before Rhea got hurt. So I guess that is one thing to look at least. So I think it was a serviceable match. I think it was still probably under the Solo and Roman match, but they also got more time. So it also does seem better when you have a little bit more time to get everything in there. And then I predicted in my prediction video that Becky Lynch would come back at this point to set off Rhea's next feud, but instead we got Undertaker, which I like Undertaker a lot. I like him as a wrestler, not as a person, but as a wrestler, I like him a lot, and I really wanted to, uh, you know, see him come back because we got the like spoiler ahead of time that he was there, but it felt like he took the all of that away from Liv. I really feel like this segment would have been better after the John Cena segment than after anything else. Like it just felt so random, and I know like I've seen in the interviews already, like Rhea's all happy about it, and unless she requested it or approved it, which we never will know, I really just see that they really just kind of screwed it up by doing it. I'm putting it in D. I didn't really want it there. Next up was a Travis Scott thing. I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be a concert. I think he was at least supposed to sing a song, not just smoke a blunt and drink. That's also a D. I don't know what was the point of even paying him money to be there and doing anything. He literally did nothing and did nothing for Jey Uso in that time. So it didn't make any sense to have that on the, even the 2-3 minutes it took up of screen time could have been used in other stuff. Next up we have Jay and Drew McIntyre. I feel like this is a serviceable match. Again, it was on the card and they did definitely what they needed to, but I felt like the result was really not it. I felt like the whole thing with Drew is like he's getting his revenge on the bloodline that eventually might lead him to Roman Reigns, or to eventually actually go after the person who cost him the match, Solo Sikoa. But losing to Jey Uso here wasn't the thing. He should have had anything happen. You know, there could have been any type of interference from the bloodline. I just felt like that was kind of it. I don't know. Also, I meant to mention on the Roman match, having all of those people come down was a little random. I mean, I understand OG Bloodline and then coming down, but I really feel like they could have just skipped the whole Cody thing, because yeah, he's going after Kevin Owens, but I don't think that was really needed right there. I like the Kevin Owens part showing up. That was a good twist. I didn't really expect that. So that part did get me. So I meant to mention that on that part. But yeah, I mean, they didn't have Jay come down for the save earlier. They set it up. I felt like it was a good match, but the result was bad. So I'll put it in B. It was good. It was on the card. Next up, CM Punk versus Seth Rollins. Now, the problem with CM Punk and Seth Rollins is that they're so good on the mic that no matter what, the match is never going to be as good as what you get from the promos because they're older. They're not, I won't say old, but like they're older. Their bodies are limited compared to what they would be fighting 10 years ago, but their promo skills are still better than they were 10 years ago. So like there's always going to be a letdown from that. I definitely think the result was perfect here. The go to sleep, the finishers that they did of each other's was a really nice touch. I feel like the callback because the match ending of him going with the two to go to sleeps and him like falling over for the second one is exactly what happened in the John Moxley match with CM Punk. CM Punk coming down in the jacket that he wore when he got in the backstage brawl at AEW. All of that was just some really cool symbolism that's kind of lost outside of the average everyday fan. But I would give this an A. It was definitely the best match in the card. It was the main event, so it made sense. It was one that I was most hyped for, so it kind of all gets that. Obviously, speaking, it wasn't the master technical class, high flying, craziness. We definitely could have used the Penta Chad Gable match probably on this card. Even Penta versus like Rey Mysterio or something like that would have been a better match to throw on here, so they would have had like another just like good match. And I was really confused why the IC title match of the women's wasn't on here or the men's. Like they could have had a men's title match because we get Sheamus versus Ludwig next week, but like where's the IC title in all of this? Like I feel like at this point getting a title is just gonna means that you're gonna have a lot of time off because like Braun Breaker hasn't been on anything other than backstage stuff. So I don't know. There's a lot that could happen. I feel like there was definitely a lot of balls drop here, but I felt like there was a lot of outside fins that we don't know about. I really feel like somehow the Becky Lynch fin got cut and they replaced it with the Undertaker fin. Don't know why or why that decision was made, but I'm pretty sure that would be my headcanon of what happened. I feel like the Travis Scott thing also seems a little weird that he probably was supposed to there to perform and he didn't because of something and that cut up because the thing was like everybody thought the show was going to be an extra half an hour and a lot of stuff got cut off. The New Day match they got cut off. They had a couple backstage promos and that was about it. And I feel like there was more stuff cut off. I feel like Gunther was also supposed to be there and that just got cut off to a vignette. So I don't know. Overall, the show I thought was pretty solid. Was it serviceable for Monday Night Raw? I'd probably give it a B altogether. I think the hype was one of those things that killed it and also saved it because the hype. I was so hyped for this, and so automatically I was going to be disappointed no matter what because it wasn't going to live up to the hype. But at least it was still one of those memorable matches or matchups and everything. And the story was just so good that all of four matches that were here were long-term storytelling and long-term like just storylines in general, and we got some conclusions and some continuations from now on because we know we're going to get CM Punk and Seth Rollins again. We know Liv's not going to be done with Rhea to a certain extent, and we know Drew is not done with the bloodline. Roman and Solo probably be the only ones because we probably won't see Roman back until 2K drops. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate for that, but yeah. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me there was other segments. Maybe next time we'll do a full breakdown. I was trying to do all the important stuff, and yeah, if you guys like these Raw reviews, maybe we'll make them a full time thing. But until next time, it's been Japan. Bye guys.